Hey guys, welcome back to another week here at Handy Creators,
where we tackle DIY projects and show you that if we can do it, you can do it.
Okay, so this week, you want to tell them what we're doing?
We're pouring our own slab. So, for those of you that have been following our series, we've been completely transforming our entire backyard. And this week, we're going to be pouring our concrete slab. So a few videos ago, we said that we were gonna go ahead and do this with paver base, and turns out, that's not the case. In a later video, we're gonna be installing some floor tile for the rest of the project, and paver base is not strong enough to hold that tile. If we do the paver base, what's gonna end up happening is all those tiles are gonna crack over time.
I mean, there's a big risk that it might happen, so we don't even want to risk it. I mean, it's so much money invested and so much time and effort that it's not worth it.
Even though we bought a lot of paver base.
Big mistake, so...
Yeah, make sure you do your research, but hey,
it happens.
These are the mistakes that you can't, that happens when you don't really know, so...
Yeah, again, that just goes back to tell you, we are not experts. We try to educate ourselves
along the way,
but I mean, we're still gonna make mistakes.
So we're gonna repurpose that paver base. We're gonna be using it for another project that we have.
We want to get it out of the way because since our backyard, we have two doors along the sides. We have the one for the garden, which is just one, and then we have a double on the other side, which we purposely left that way we could get a truck back there if we ever needed it. Right now, the paver base is right in the middle.
So let's start by removing this paver base, and then we can go ahead and move on to the next step.
Now it's time to clean out the mess we have here. We're gonna be organizing this whole area and throwing a little bit more paver base to give it a little bit less depth, and see. If not, then I don't know what we're gonna do with the extra, but we need it out today.
What did you find?
We have a visitor. I have to be quick, okay?
A bunch of little frogs. Bye, buddy.
So that's done. We're gonna be keeping some parts of the barbecue back here. If you have an item that's not good enough to give away to someone but still has good enough pieces, keep them. You never know when you'll need them. Good morning. Guess what we're doing today? We are carrying 150 bags of concrete.
Fun.
So we had ordered a delivery with Home Depot for 150 bags of concrete to our house, or so we thought. My mother calls me this morning. She calls Jesus this morning and she's like, there's a delivery truck outside our house getting some supplies here. And we're like, what? Why are they there? When we check, Jesus put his first name with my last name and my parents' address, so I'm not sure what his mind was at that moment. Luckily, my parents live around like 4 minutes from us, so we are gonna be carrying 150 concrete bags to our house. We asked them to please deliver it at our house, but store policy, they have to deliver it wherever their paper says, because obviously, I mean, why would they trust us? So we're gonna be doing that now.
One eternity later.
Yeah. Lesson learned. Check your info. Always. For this project, we rented a concrete mixer from our local Home Depot.
Hey guys, welcome to another day. Here we are. We went ahead and rented the machine just because it's a very big area. We've done big pours before, but never as big as this. So this one, I think it holds like 6 bags of concrete at a time. We were gonna get the one that holds 10, but it was way too big and we weren't sure if we put it on the truck how we're gonna take it off and then put it back on. So we don't want to risk it. It actually looks better, like, and easier to move around. The one for 10 looked a little bit too big, bulky, and like uncomfortable. We're going home now, and today hopefully we'll be throwing the concrete and starting the slab. So exciting. It's supposed to rain today. We're not 100% sure. The day looks beautiful. Our plan is having the machine for maybe 2 days. We are throwing to do it in 2 days. If we get it done in one, great, fabulous, that's amazing, but that's not our plan. We're trying to be realistic because it's a big section. Rent machines if you need to. It makes the job so much easier. So that's what we went ahead and did. And yeah, we're going home now and hopefully getting this started today. Let's see. Hi. And say hi to your friends. Say hi. Oh my goodness, hi. So we're making the frame right now. We worked on it yesterday, but not yesterday, like the day before. But we are retouching, making sure that everything's completely even.
To hold the frame in place, you're going to need some wooden stakes. We made ours from some scrap wood that we had lying in the garage. To create the frame, we used 2x4s since that is going to be the depth of our new patio slab. We used the existing slab for reference to make sure that everything was nice and leveled. Make sure to always measure along the way so that everything comes out even. To move the concrete bags, we loaded them onto the truck and just backed it up all the way.
This is exactly why we did a double door when we made our fence on this side, so we could go ahead and put a truck back here or a car if we ever needed to.
Unfortunately, it started raining, but you know, it doesn't matter. We still work under the rain.
Yeah, it's sprinkling a little, but whatever. We wanted to make a very quick disclaimer before we start.
We are not professionals. We are YouTube certified, if that's a thing, but we are not professionals. Let's get started with this pour and hopefully the rain stops.
Let's do it.
A few moments later.
The minute we were gonna grab the first bag, the things that happen to us don't happen to anybody else. Let's see how long this lasts.
Guys, we're taking the concrete back. It's raining way too much.
Thankfully, the day cleared up and we were able to go ahead and get along with our pour. The machine that we rented brought instructions on how to mix the concrete. What we found useful was to make sure that the machine had at least 1 gallon of water before putting your first bag, and then slowly adding water until you had the consistency that you wanted. We started from the back and worked our way forward since this is already connecting to an existing slab. We made sure to continuously mist the area to avoid it from drying before we were done.
Another little hack I do whenever I'm working with concrete is, I don't know if you guys have seen me in the time lapse, I spray myself down with water. So if you see my pens right now are soaking wet, but I mean, it's nice because it freshens me up since I am working outside and I'm sweaty, but it also helps my pens not get stained and damaged with concrete, and that way I could keep using them.
This is how you want your cement to look before pouring it.
Papi, viniste profesional.
Once you have filled the frame, it is time to screed the concrete. This technique consists of using a piece of wood that is larger than your area and moving it back and forth continuously while pushing it forward little by little to get rid of the excess concrete. This will allow you to achieve a smooth finish. Once we finished with the first area, it was time to get started on the second pour. We repeated the same process as described earlier. When doing this process, watch out for any gaps. If you are missing concrete, add some more mix and re-screed that area. This will not affect your finished product if your concrete is still wet. So we finally finished, and literally 10 seconds after we finish, a cloud decided to come and just screw everything up. So let's see if it passes by and we can get to fix this. Hopefully this doesn't happen to you, but if it does, we used some mortar mix to go ahead and fill in the gaps.
Oh my gosh, wait, let's appreciate that background. Wow. We just kind of finished. We were able to fix the holes that the rain created. If you live in Florida, please comment below and let me know, because it is so frustrating to do anything in summertime because the forecast is always wrong. Supposedly it was only gonna rain in the morning and then not again in the afternoon, and then all of a sudden it's on us. Yeah, it was very frustrating, but we fixed it. Right here you can see, like right here, that's where we added the extra. We don't care if it's like perfectly smooth or if there's different in tones, because again, we're gonna be putting tile. The plan might be tomorrow we have to return the machine. Well, we had initially planned to keep it for 2 days, but since we got the majority of it, the 2 big ones, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna return it. The plan is to do the rest by hand.
Just do the same method. It's gonna consist of the same thing, except we won't have a very dandy mixer.
If you guys have good weather where you're at, you could do the whole pour in one day. If you rent a machine, it was just us 3, my dad, me, and Jesus. And I mean, I'm tired, but we're tired, but it wasn't nothing like, oh my gosh.
I think that if it wasn't for the weather and we would have started like early,
we would have
in the
been
morning,
done.
The whole pour would have been done.
We wanted to do it this way. That way, in case we weren't done today, we could do it tomorrow. We were planning on giving ourselves more time just to not be killing ourselves. If you are planning on maybe just leaving the slab on its own and just painting it, maybe you would want to try to do the whole thing and not break it into so many sections. But since we are putting tile on it, doesn't really make a difference for us that you could see the line or the division.
With that,
yeah,
we're gonna go get some rest. I think it's time to retire for the night, and then
yeah, and we have a little girl in there crying her butt off because
she wants to be out here with us, but she can't.
Yeah,
so
it's raining.
We're gonna go inside and we'll see y'all tomorrow.
It's day 2 here, and we're gonna be taking out the frame from the middle. Such a nice plane. So we all have a hammer in hand and we're gonna be vibrating it. That way it makes it easier to remove. Let's do that.
To remove the frame, remove the stakes and softly tap the wood until you see it start separating from the concrete. Make sure to not hit the edge as it could easily break.
That came off so smoothly. It looks so good. Now we're just gonna do the middle part, and we could say that we threw a slab in less than 24 hours. On a normal situation, we would leave this just because, again, we're putting tile, so we really don't care about that. But we might fill it in just to show you guys that it could be done if this does happen to you. I got a little bit of stucco, which has no rocks. For this step, I grabbed a bit of stucco, filled in the gaps, and scraped the excess off to the existing concrete.
And with the frame removed, it was time to get started on the middle section. We went ahead and mixed all the bags inside of a wheelbarrow, and this is the consistency that we were looking for. You're going to want to repeat the same process as outlined before, and once you are done, screed the whole area so that it's nice and smooth.
Okay, so we're at the last piece, and we thought, oh my god, let's bury something so then, you know, if we ever move and someone ever tears this down, they could find something special about us. Who knows, maybe 50, 60, 70 years from now.
We'll still be here.
Yeah, so for me, I'm putting a gardening item since I love gardening with our name and the date. For my mom, I'm putting a coffee pod because she loves coffee. My dad, a Corona top. For Bailey, we're putting a little toy she can't play with because it's too tiny and she almost swallowed it the other day, so.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put a drill bit that helped us throughout this project.
So who knows, maybe someone 100 years from now sees this video and they're like, oh my god, that's my house and I saw that. We're done. So thank you if you got to this part of the video. Thank you so much for watching. We wanted to give you guys like
a few little clip notes
on the side of things that we did not do on the project and maybe some little tips for you guys. First one is mesh. The mesh at the bottom of the concrete slab. We decided not to do it.
Yeah, I think primarily a lot of people use that mesh or some sort of rebar, if you're going to be placing a heavy object on it or a lot of weight, such as like a shed or something of that nature.
Yeah,
but
if you're gonna be building a construction on top of it, but since we're not, we decided to not go that route, and we decided not to use it. That way we could save money on our end.
Another thing that we wanted to note out is that if you've noticed in our previous videos, sometimes the batches of concrete that we do are a little bit on the wetter side, and yes, that is done on purpose. We do that just because we like to give ourselves a little bit more time to work with the concrete, since we're not professional masoners or of that sort at all. We tend to leave our concrete a little bit on the wetter side, and then if for some reason it's too wet when the finished product, we'll just make drier batches, and when you combine it, it comes out nice and smooth and it works out perfect.
If that's something that you guys are comfortable with, try it out. Everybody will tell you to make it thick, but if you do not have practice in this, you need to give yourself enough time. It is better to have a wet concrete that will dry than to have a dried concrete that you cannot move after and you're stuck with it.
Especially when you're pouring a patio slab like this, we would definitely recommend the first few batches make them wet, because if you're pouring such a big slab, you're gonna need to give yourself enough time to fill that up. If not, those first pours that you did are going to dry by the time you finish.
Even ours that we're on the wetter side, we're drying. The next little note that we wanted to make is the little rake we use to spread the concrete. Obviously, that's not a tool for this type of job.
That's a handy creator's tool for that job.
Yes, that is actually a gardening tool, but we were not going to spend money on a tool that we're just going to use once. Use what you have at hand. You don't always have to go out and buy a tool. Sometimes you'll be so surprised that the stuff that you have in your garage will work for many different things.
So something else that we wanted to make very, very, very important in this video is do whatever it takes to get your product how you want it. And the end justifies the means. And what we mean by that is that sometimes you'll see in our video that we're probably not doing something how a professional would do it, but that's exactly what makes us DIYers. We figure things out along the way because we know what we want, and we know that we can get it there by doing it said way. There are many ways to cut up high. You just got to figure out which one works best for you.
Wow, I like that.
So the last thing we wanted to add on here is that depending on the size of concrete slab that you're doing, you might want to cut it into smaller sections to prevent cracking. That's not something that we're going to be doing, since we are going to be adding tile on that. But we would definitely recommend that you look into it to see if your project needs that to be done. And cost, something that we definitely want to talk about. So if you look up on Google, it says that the average homeowner pays around $8 per square foot to install a concrete slab between materials and labor. We had a 200 square foot slab that we're installing. At $8 a square foot, you're talking roughly $1,600. And we did this project right under that $600 mark. So we saved at least $1,000 by pouring our own slab.
Something that we always do every single time we're working with something that we're against time, like concrete. I mean, you need to be fast with concrete because it dries. We give ourselves a job. We all have a different job. Yeah. Usually, I'm the water person. I'm the one who always pours the water. Jesus carries the cements because we don't like to put that pressure on my dad, since obviously he's older. And then my dad, when we do it by hand, he's the mixer, since he has more experience and he's done it so much, so he's good at it. That's extremely helpful when you guys have a system. The first few rounds is like, oh, but once you get that, it becomes so much easier and so much smoother, and you already know what it is that you have to be doing. Everyone's assigned to one thing. So if you guys have multiple hands helping, assign everyone with a different job. If you have 4 people, have one person be the one who opens and the other person carries it, the other, and it helps, and it becomes so much more faster. So that's something that we do, and it really works out for us. We have to say thank you, Dad, for all your help this weekend.
Yes,
we really appreciate it. I have to say that in Spanish. Gracias, papi, por tu ayuda a poner el concreto.
Yep.
Si no hubiera sido por ti, no hubiéramos terminado.
In other words, we would not have finished without him. So thank you. Yes. And now with that, we're gonna end this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, make sure to like and subscribe, and hit that little notifications bell below if you haven't done so already, so that you know when we drop our latest videos. So,
and we'll see you
on the next week. Bye.